Okay, so when this movie was announced back in Disney Investor Day a couple years ago, I was like, okay, there's an interesting idea for a Pixar movie. And then the trailers came out and I was like, that actually doesn't look too good. It looks like a kid's movie for kids. Like, it looks like a movie that's specifically aimed at preteen girls and no one else. Yeah, I should have known better. Turning Red. You like my new intro? Thanks. So Turning Red is the newest movie from Pixar Animation Studios, and once again, it was gonna come out theatrically, but instead it was pushed straight to Disney+. That really sucks. I wanna see Pixar on the silver screen again. Is that too much to ask? But Turning Red takes place in Toronto in the year 2002. Yeah, the trailers actually didn't let you know that, but I do feel like that's important to know. So we have Mei-Lin Lee, right? She's 13 years old, she's in 8th grade. She's really good at everything, she gets straight A's, she loves her family. She has her group of friends that she hangs out with, and their favorite boy band is coming to town on their tour. And so they're like, all right, we're gonna go see them. But it turns out Mei Lee has something of a condition. It turns out that whenever Mei-Lin experiences strong emotions, she'll hulk out and turn into a giant red panda. Yeah, so she'll transform into a big bear. That might make for some problems. And so now we have our new Pixar movie. And like I said, from the way the trailers made it look, I was like, I'm not gonna like this. It just looked really kiddish. Like, I love good animated movies. There are some animated movies that are my favorite movies of all time, period. But, you know, there are different kinds of animated movies. There's animated movies that are aimed only towards kids, and then there are animated movies that are aimed towards all ages. Turning Red from the trailers made it look like it was gonna be in that first group. But I'll tell you what, I was surprisingly mistaken. I actually related a lot to this movie. And I'm not gonna lie, I thought it was great. Yeah, I know, shocking, right? But I will explain myself. First of all, Mei-Lin Lee as a character, she is very relatable because, first of all, she's in 8th grade. 8th grade is a very volatile time in life, I feel. Because really, that's when puberty hits. This movie is a coming-of-age story, don't let anyone tell you different, and really, it just nails that genre down to a science. Because not only is it about growing up in this very transformative stage of your life, but it's also about how your parents deal with that. Because Mei-Lin's mother, oh my god. She's one of those mothers that's overly controlling of her daughter. Like, Mei-Lin explains that the number one thing that is the most important to her in her life is her mother's approval. It's almost like she's a slave to her or something. People, there were several scenes in this movie where I really just hated her mother. Cause she makes all the wrong choices. She embarrasses her daughter in public. We saw in the first trailer she shows up at school and like spies on her through the window. Yeah, parenting tip, don't do that. That's a great way to lose your kid's trust. But, you know, she makes these rules for her daughter. And of course, it's one of those things where, you know, these rules are not helping her daughter. They're really helping herself. And for me personally, there are very few things that piss me off more than that. So good job Turning Red for getting me to hate that character. Now, like I said, this movie is all about growing up in the preteen years. And so I related to it a lot. Cause I remember 8th grade, man, that was a really big year in my life. 8th grade was all about celebrity crushes and going through those changes and acting crazy. My obsession, my big celebrity crush, and those of you who knew me back then, you can vouch for this. It was Debbie Ryan from Sweet Life on Deck. I was obsessed with this girl. And when you have a celebrity crush at 13 years old, it's not just, oh, I think she's cute and I would totally bang her. No, it's more like I am destined to be with that person. She is my future wife. She just doesn't know it yet. This person is my destiny. That's how it feels at 13 years old. I remember it very well. And so for these girls in the movie who are obsessing over this boy band, which yeah, the movie takes place in 2002, which was the peak of boy band popularity. I mean, come on, we had NSYNC, the Backstreet Boys, or were they in the 90s? I was a bit younger back then. In 2002, I wasn't quite in 8th grade yet, but I do remember boy bands very well. Hell, boy bands were popular way after 2002. Like when I was in high school, it was One Direction. All the girls in high school, they loved One Direction, they were Directioners, or before that, they were Beliebers. Here's another true story for ya. I remember the day that the Twilight Saga New Moon came out in theaters. I think I was in high school at the time. All the girls at my school were wearing black lipstick and Twilight t-shirts. We guys called it H1N Moon. It was a virus that was going around. I'll never forget that because I was struck by it. I was like, holy crap, what are these girls doing? They're crazy, they're out of their mind, but They were obsessed. They had celebrity crushes. That's just how it was back then. You remember? That's just the thing that everyone goes through in their lives. Everyone experiences celebrity crushes. So these kids, they just want to go to the concert and become women. Because when you're at that age, you see that as the end-all, be-all of your life. You don't see beyond those borders. So for me anyway, watching this movie, it did take me back to that time of being a preteen. And I was like, oh my god. Simpler times. It made me laugh. It was funny. It's like Inside Out, you know? It's a coming-of-age story for a young girl. There's nothing wrong with that. Also, the animation in this movie is really cool. It's not like super detailed like the movie Brave, for example, or The Good Dinosaur. It's more stylistic than that. I could tell there's a lot of inspiration in the animation from anime. Like when the kids are really excited, their eyes go really bubbly, like the sparkle thing that anime characters do, which I laughed at, I'm not gonna lie. I thought it was funny. The scene in the trailer where Mei Lin throws the ball and it does that whoosh thing. I was like, oh yeah, that's right out of an anime or something. And there's some pretty cool imagery in this movie. Like some really cool shots where I was like, that was really well composed. The color is really good. It's a very vibrant movie. It was fun to look at. And the music was really good too. And it was actually scored by none other than Ludwig Göransson. Yeah, you know, Black Panther, Creed, The Mandalorian. And the score was really good. You do hear Asian influences in the score because Mei Lin is Chinese-Canadian, and this whole red panda thing, it does relate to Chinese mythology, so it does make sense. And it was really cool. Plus, there's also that pop boy band music that I well remember from my childhood. Again, you hear it in this movie, and you're taken back to that time in your life, and you're like, oh man, the simpler days. Or at least that's what it did to me. So in the end, I surprisingly enjoyed Turning Red. I really liked the character Mei Lin. I liked her weird, quirky little friend group. I liked the family dynamic. I loved the coming of age story. Again, it took me back to my preteen days in 8th grade, obsessing over Debbie Ryan, because that's what I did back then. I would actually write like little fan fiction stories about myself and her meeting up and falling in love. That's real. And now you know that about me. I don't know why I'm doing this, but that's what this movie brought out of me, I guess. I would honestly say this is the best movie of the year so far. Which, yeah, is me saying I like this movie more than The Batman. I know, I didn't see it coming, but that's where I'm standing. This movie was just good. It may come as a shock, but it's true. So Turning Red, have you seen it yet? What do you think about it? And who was the celebrity crush that you had back in those preteen days? I shared mine, now you share yours. I'm really curious about this, so go ahead and let me know in a comment. And of course, thank you for subscribing. Peace!